Your extracurriculars probably don't matter as much as you think. And the reason for that is just according to the data, when it comes to university applications, universities don't really care as much about extracurriculars. Now you probably think, well, wait, it doesn't make any sense. Extracurriculars are, they're there to help me, present a balanced image, right? I'm not just a monolithic, just monotone student just doing this one subject and that's it. But surprisingly, what you do notice is that what a lot of universities are saying, at least when it comes to competitive applications, is that whilst extracurriculars, they're definitely not bad to have, they don't move the needle as much as you think, right? So don't get me wrong, they're good, keep them, but don't rely on it as being that extra edge when it comes to university applications. So now the question becomes, okay, well, if extracurriculars aren't that important, what is very important? What do universities look for? And at least according to the data from what I've read about the applications and whatnot, what universities are requiring more and more, okay, especially universities that have a very competitive nature to the application process, are supercurriculars. And what supercurriculars basically represent are, it represents a more in-depth kind of passion about that particular course. It's activities that directly map your, the nature of that activity to the course itself. So for instance, if you want to do an economics course, for instance, what you got to be thinking about is, okay, are there any events for economics this year? Are there any, podcasts or workshops I can do in my free time that I can then cite in my personal statement, right? So for instance, you can have a lot of personal statements out there, competing for that same economics course spot, but they're all going to say general things, about why they're passionate about economics and whatnot. But if you have evidence behind why you deserve that spot, so you say, for instance, I attended, a 6-week economics workshop in the summer holidays, or like a 3-week economics workshop in the summer holidays about, the real life applications of like US domestic or UK fiscal policy or something, then what you've got is evidence in your application behind why you want to like study that topic, right? Which is something that a lot of people don't have. Okay, so supercurriculars can really move the needle there. So if you're going into A-levels next year, or if you're already in A-levels and you're approaching year 13, this is definitely something to start thinking about when you approach this year. Try to look for events out there that directly, not only events, but just workshops, anything that basically, any extra activity that basically maps exactly to the course you want to do. Okay, because when you're writing your personal statement, then you can always link back to that, and it's going to show the applications people that, okay, this person actually does know this stuff. They actually are passionate about this, right? And that's going to be the edge, because now obviously applications are as competitive as ever. So that's just something to think about. And obviously extracurriculars, don't ditch them. They are important. They do show like a well-balanced applicant, but obviously they don't move the needle as much as people think, right? According to the data, at least, as to what a lot of these top universities are saying, supercurriculars are what they're looking for. I've also attached some resources below, so by all means check those out so you can get a wider picture on this topic.